Everybody, I'm Stacy with Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. So today's topic is if you're suffering with depression right now, I want you to tell somebody. Please tell somebody. I know that many of you have been the backbone of your families. You've been that person who smiles and takes care of everything, but inside you may feel like you're dying right now. You may be thinking bad thoughts, or what you would say is bad thoughts. And so I want you to know that you're not alone. I come to you today with this video not as a doctor. I am not a doctor. So if you are seriously struggling with depression, you need to call 911. I'm coming to you with my own experience. We say, experience and strength and hope, hoping that it will help you too. Because I too have suffered with depression at different times in my life, and we are dealing with something now that we never have dealt with before in our lives, right? So it's coming at us at an overwhelming way. It's coming at us in an intense way, and a lot of people don't understand what we're going through. I don't know that anybody does. So if you like that's our topic today, please hit the like and subscribe button below and stay tuned. But first I want to explain to you that what I am coming to you as is a life coach. I'm a life coach, and if you go to my website, stacyforlife.com, there's a list of the services that I provide as a life coach. I deal primarily with addiction, codependency, and grief, and most of us in our life, if we haven't dealt with it ourselves, we've dealt with somebody else who's dealt with that. But underneath all of that lies a desire for healing and healthy relationships, as well as development of spiritual and soul consciousness. So if you or anyone you know need help in any of those areas, please feel free to visit my website at stacyforlife.com. So let's go back to this depression right now. As I've stated in the last two videos, many people are dealing with the loss of loved ones, which grief causes depression. But like I said, many people are the backbone of the family. In my recent trip back home, and even before that, when I'll have meetings online on Zoom, and one of my friends said, I'm not coming to the meeting tonight on Zoom. I'm depressed, and so it was like, oh, do you think you need to isolate if you're depressed? But I was so grateful that they told me they were depressed. And then I met with another friend while I was gone, and she said, I'm depressed. Both of these women are very strong women who have taken care of their families. They've taken care of a lot of stuff. They've inspired me, and so I'm glad that I got to reach out to them. So somebody that is probably struggling with depression, and I hope that you let them know, if you sense that somebody's struggling with depression, you make yourself open and receptive to receive them if you have the time. And I understand that you can't stop for everybody who's depressed right now. I'm not saying that. But, the spiritual practice that I talked about earlier are ways that we can kind of feel and sense if somebody's depressed, if we're not suffering with our own depression ourselves. So if you are struggling, tell somebody. When my friend told me the other day, she's like, I'm depressed. I'm like, well, I've been depressed today too. And fortunately, I was in a good place, and I've done a lot of work on this. So we're going to talk about the work on depression and such, because you do need to, hopefully you have a professional. If you're really struggling with depression, I was in therapy the first time I took antidepressants. So we're going to talk about medicines with this, because a video is not going to fix you. That's why I'm sharing my experience, is that the first time I took antidepressants, it was in therapy. It was my first time in therapy. I think I was like 37 years old, and I didn't know much about depression. I just knew that I kept crying. I felt overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do, and I felt like running away, and I couldn't run away. I had two kids, 7 and 9 years old, so I could not run away. So I told my therapist, and she told me to go see a doctor and get antidepressants to take the edge off, because I couldn't function. I was so overwhelmed and distraught with being a new single mom. I didn't know how to be a single mom, So I went and got Lexapro. Of course, I didn't want to take it very long, but they said, Stacy, you have to take it for a year or else you're going to crash, So I took it for a year, and it did help me to take the edge off, to be able to do the next right thing that was in front of me. I still had counseling, though. Medicines in itself like that did not fix me. And I'm not saying that it won't you, but it did not fix me. Again, we're talking about my experience with this. So I continued with the programs of recovery that I did, because taking the medicine is not necessarily recovery. Recovery means that you're healing. So I had to heal those things that were on the inside of me that were causing me to think those thoughts of desperation, and to be able to learn how to not be in desperation and fear and all of this. So I had to think thoughts and learn how to get a self-esteem through achieving things. I couldn't stay locked in that fear. So the antidepressant itself was just to help me to be able to get up in the morning and not get up with dread, to be able to get up and take a shower, brush my teeth, do the next right thing, so that then I could listen to suggestions, because I had never been a single mom before. When we're dealing with stuff we've never done before, like we are right now, we have the opportunity for uplifting. That's another thing that we did in recovery, is that when we were feeling overwhelmed, sometimes we told people, I was told oftentimes to go help somebody else when I had my own problems. See, because I encourage y'all, at many times I posted a prayer. If you're on my Facebook, it's Stacy Renee. And I posted a prayer on that this morning against the negativity, because we've got a lot of negativity. Fear is considered a negative emotion, but it's a necessary negative emotion, because we wouldn't know love if we didn't know fear. So when we love things, we of course get in fear. And so many of us are experiencing that fear right now. People are afraid for their parents getting sick. They're afraid for their children getting sick. They're afraid of loss of jobs. There's so much fear going on. So if you want to go check that out, it's on Stacy Renee on Facebook. And if I get a chance, I'll try to post it at the end of this video. Y'all know my tech skills aren't so great. But, so that was the first time. So I kept learning and evolving and growing and learning how to be a single mom. She advised me not to date for a year when I was going through this divorce process. So that took the distractions away of thinking there was a white knight going to fix me or anything like that too. So, a lot of times we unconsciously think things. And so I'm just trying to help you with your consciousness as well. As there wasn't a white knight to fix me, that I had to do the growth, with my therapist through that time too. Is that the antidepressant in itself wouldn't fix what was going on in between here. It would just take the edge off of my nerves so that I could function. And then, I learned to grow, without the antidepressant. So I was on it a year that time. And, I just kept growing and evolving and learning and doing different things. I got to work on my codependency, which then when my grief hit, it allowed me to have a right state of mind to where I didn't have a codependent relationship with those people that I got to grieve. I first lost my dad before I worked on the codependence, and while I was sad that I lost my dad, I was still able to handle my grief. That was in 2002, as I've told you. But then in 2011, when I lost my son, there was a tremendous amount of grief, but still yet, because of the codependency that I had worked on within my relationships with people, I was able to understand myself and able to understand as well as I could the loss of him, which we just, sometimes when we lose our loved ones tragically, we just aren't going to understand that loss. But through the process, we can get into acceptance of that loss. So I was able to get into acceptance of that loss. However, somebody had told me, and I guess it really sunk in too, is that after 4 years of the loss of their loved one, of their child, that they really went into depression, and I did too. And what I experienced was that the holidays were coming, just as they are now, and I was crying every day. I was crying every day, and I was crying so much that I had a fever blister. I'm not prone to fever blisters, but I was so emotional at this time. I had a fever blister growing up on my face, like that. I mean, up here, way above my lip. It was coming up on my face. So I'm vain, and I freaked out, and I went to the doctor once again with that crying. and everything. Whatever your motives are, don't knock people with their motives. As long as they save their life and are able to save, because through saving your own life, you're going to be able to help somebody save their life. That's what humanity is about, right? So that's what we do. So I got the antidepressants then. It was Wellbutrin at that time. And I was able to stay on it. I think I stayed on it for a year and a half. What I learned is I have this SAD disease, SAD, and I needed some sunshine. I need greenery to be able to function, and so I was able to move here to beautiful Cancun, Mexico, where it's green and summer all the time, where I'm in paradise like my son is in paradise all the time. I think a lot of times in our grief, if that's what you're feeling this holiday season, that, we need to be able to honor them and cherish them and live their life. What helped me with my grief is that my son used to tell me, "Mom, quit tripping." He was 18 years old. So when I would be asking him questions and bugging him, he'd be like, "Mom, quit tripping." So at the loss of him, I had to keep telling myself, "Mom, quit tripping." I still hear his voice, I hear him tell me stuff still, and I still cherish that. We celebrated Dia de los Muertos yesterday, and I sat there singing, playing the songs last night that my son liked to hear that reminded me of him. I wear this, have a glow-in-the-dark bracelet that reminds me of him. It's from when I lost him and the 5 other souls. I'm not the only mom grieving at this time. Never. Even if those other 5 children didn't go with him, I wouldn't be the only mom grieving. Which that's humanity too, right? That's humility and humanity, because we know that we're not the only ones. Same with our depression, is you're not the only one. My son's ashes are in this necklace that I wear around my neck. And this shirt I bought for him when he was like 11 or 12 years old. So it's being able to have him with me, even though he's not physically with me, he's with me. So when we choose to celebrate our loved ones that way and see that their spirit is still with us, their spirit is with us still. We helped in the creation of their spirit as mothers and fathers and such. And so their spirit is always with us. Their soul goes on, as far as I'm concerned. But their spirit is still with us. So I don't know what you might be dealing with this holiday season. Like I said, I got off the antidepressants, the Wellbutrin, after a year and a half. So being on Wellbutrin, being on Lexapro, any of that is better than being underground and in your family and loved ones dealing with this, because somebody loves you. You are somebody's son, mother, father, daughter, sister, brother, somebody. You are somebody's love, And so to leave them with that, is sad. I had talked to my dad about suicide. I still don't know if he committed suicide or not. I don't know. I don't worry about it because I have had a lot of therapy. I have had a lot of coaching. I have had a lot of this, and it's not my business whether or not he committed suicide. It's just not my business. So when people do choose to do that, I would hope that I would think that it's not my business, their relationship with their self and their higher power, just like my son's relationship with his higher power was different than mine, obviously. But I still have to respect that. So it doesn't have to become a cycle. See, that's the thing, is that the things that I got to learn while I was on the Wellbutrin or the Lexapro was how to break cycles. How to break cycles that were depressing. Where these things come from. Because when I started therapy, I only knew happy, mad, sad. And to learn through different ways that I could feel expanded in me, and it will expand you too, so that you won't give up 5 minutes before the miracle either, is that we think bad thoughts sometimes, but we don't have to act on the bad thoughts. It's quite normal sometimes that we may think things that might be unpleasant. certain ones of us, and for some of us that might be normal for a few minutes. So it's not to should on ourselves, because that's another thing that I learned in therapy right away was don't should on yourself, because if you didn't know how to handle something, then you didn't know how to handle it. If you hadn't seen it before, and that's probably why you didn't know how to handle it, then it's normal that you wouldn't know how to handle something. If you haven't experienced that before, if you haven't experienced being a single mom before, you're not going to know how to handle it. If you haven't experienced losing your job and having a family depend on you before, you're not going to know how to handle it. If you haven't experienced the loss of a child or loss of a loved one on an intense level, then you're not going to know how to handle it. There's no shoulding on yourself in these circumstances. If you're waking up every day crying, go see the doctor. If you're waking up every day wishing you were not here, go see the doctor. I'm not saying that they're always the cure either, but I am saying, please stay. Please stay here. Please reach out to somebody. Please tell somebody, I'm depressed. There's a lot of people that are depressed all the time, and I understand that. And hopefully they're getting the help that they need, because nobody else can fix you unless you tell somebody you're depressed and find that person that you can reach out to. Somebody told me they were depressed. I said, look, you need to call me, because you're a valuable person. We are all valuable people. Thank God I didn't never act on any of my depressions, and I found the help that I needed by telling somebody I was depressed. Because I told somebody I was depressed, I got to grow, I got to live, I got to raise those 2 kids. Even though I lost one later, I still have one. I learned through the process of the first depression to the next depression that to be grateful for what I had, to be grateful something that's coming up, to be thankful for what we have. And sometimes it may feel like we don't have anything, especially this day and time. But I want you to reach out to somebody if you are feeling depressed. Have you always been the backbone of your family? Are you feeling the stress? What is it that's overwhelming you? Please reach out to someone. And if you don't have anyone to reach out to, please reach out to me if you don't think you have anyone to reach out to. If you're afraid that you're going to hurt their feelings or something like this, that's what life coaches, therapists, and people are for, is to have that unbiased opinion to where you can feel safe and free to tell somebody. But even just telling somebody that's a friend, my friends told me, and it was able to lift a burden just slightly to where their faces caught ease. That's not going to work for everybody. Some people, you do need to go to the doctor. You get to decide if you need to do that or not. I can't even tell you unless, I'm working with you and can encourage you to go to the doctor. But it's not... You have to take yourself to the doctor. You have to talk to the doctor. Nobody can get medicine for you. Please, please, please tell somebody if you're suffering or struggling right now. Again, I offer for people to reach out with me. If you seriously want help with your problem, I'm not here to vent. You have friends for that. But hopefully, but I'm not here to vent. If you want help with your problem, I want to know what I can do to help you with your problem. And that doesn't mean money. It doesn't mean anything else. I can't fix you, but I'm willing to help you organize and compartmentalize your thoughts and perspectives, so that you can go forward in this life, that you can be a miracle. You can have magic, mystery, and miracles. You can't give up 5 minutes before it. Sometimes you got to do the next right thing for a long time before they come through. But I don't have to live with SAD. And if you didn't know what SAD is, seasonal affective disorder. I didn't want to say it wrong, but it's seasonal affective disorder, and it's during the holidays primarily. So please, please reach out to somebody. I know those of us who grieve, sometimes it's the next season. I think the reason it affected me so sorely in 4 years is that I realized season after season after season that, they still weren't there. The holidays would never be the same. And so we've created different ways, but the holidays will still never be the same. And they're never going to be as good as those were, because those are in my memories and they're cherished. But it doesn't mean that I can't live today and help somebody else to celebrate holidays with their children as best as they can, to live their best day as best as they can. And you can too. So maybe you're on this side to where you can listen to somebody and hear them and help them organize and compartmentalize. And if you're not, you can refer them to somebody that can help them organize and compartmentalize their thoughts and perspectives, because I understand we're going through something different now. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you. And I really try not to talk about me too much in the videos, but I want you to know that you are not alone. You are not. Please tell somebody. So with that being said, I wish you much love and peace. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week. As always, on Tuesdays, I ask for Topic Tuesday, but it doesn't have to be limited to Tuesdays. Y'all know what I'm saying? I'm always telling y'all this is an unlimited universe. So if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, then please feel free to email me or message me. Again, remember you can connect with me with stacyforlife.com. I'm on Facebook as Stacy's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm also Stacy Renee, and I posted that prayer there, and I'll try to put it at the end here, so hang in here, okay? And Stacy Renee 8 on Instagram. Thank you so much. I wish you much love and peace once again, and I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.